Hey, we picking a school. Hey, we picking a school. Hey, we picking a school. We picking a school. We picking a school. Yes, that's right. I'm Trucker Harley. Welcome back to my channel. So if you clicked on this link, then I already know you're ready to get down to the nitty gritty and pick a school. But there's so many. So which one do we go to? So I'm going to give you a couple recommendations and we're going to get right into it. Let's go. Okay, so when it comes to trucking schools, there's so many out there. It's really hard to choose which one you want to go to. So I'm going to go over a few because there's tons of them. But the ones I'm going to go over are the main ones that you see out on the road. And most of the truck drivers that are out here went to one of these schools. So y'all know the word. Let's get into it. So the first company you're going to see out here a lot on the road is Swift. Now, excuse me for laughing, but it be like that sometimes. You're going to see a lot of senior drivers like me. When we think about Swift or when we see Swift, we might laugh a little bit because you're going to be the butt of a lot of jokes. But that doesn't mean Swift can't get you where you need to be, because there's actually a great school. They do have a lot of great trainers besides all the craziness that you see out on the road. So here's my overview when it comes to Swift. Swift is actually one of the largest mega companies out there. They have hundreds of trailers and hundreds of trucks. And a few years back, they actually partnered with Knight, which makes them even more massive. So if you're the type of person who likes to grow within the company, stay with the company, and you don't mind being a company driver within this industry, Swift is actually not a bad choice. They have good trainers and they have a good course there. And 3 to 4 weeks isn't bad. So what does the money look like? From what I hear, when you're first starting out, they're typically making between $500 and $800 per week. And then after you get some experience under your belt, or if you transfer from another school, they typically give you $800 to $1,000 per week. And then after about 6 months, it's anywhere from $1,500 to $800. But don't quote me though. These are just some things that I'm hearing in the streets. So what kind of freight do they offer? Well, they offer dry van, reefer, flatbed, heavy hauling, dedicated, and they also have lease purchasing programs. Now, all of these different types of freight may not make sense to you now, but I will explain this in another video. Also, if you're the type of person that went to another school, but you didn't like it so much and you want to transfer to Swift, they do give out a $2,500 transition fee. What? So yes, they're going to pay you to come from one company to another. Now, if you're coming in as a rookie, fresh off the street, you've never got into a truck no more, they have over 35 facilities nationwide. So if they don't have one in your state, most likely they have one 2 to 3 states over. And if you're from Mexico, you live in Mexico, or you travel a lot to Mexico, you're in luck, because they have Mexican freight too. Yes, Mexican freight, is that even like a thing? Or they have freight that goes in and out of Mexico. That's better well said. Or said better. However you say that, y'all know what I mean. Y'all get the point. So when it comes to Swift, Swift is actually a good option. So let's go to the next company. Prime. So this is my overview when it comes to Prime. I've actually heard a lot of good things when it comes to Prime. So Prime is actually a little bit different than Swift, however. So when you contact a recruiter, everything checks out, everything looks good. Prime is actually going to ask you to get your permit in your home state first before they send you out to an orientation. So what that means is you're going to study. Once you obtain your permit and you have it in your possession, then they are going to cover your transportation to either Salt Lake Tahoe, Pittston, Philadelphia, and Springfield, Missouri are the 3 states, I believe. Once you get there, then they're going to start training you on everything that consists of behind the wheel. Once you learn all that stuff, then they're going to take you to another one of their facilities to actually test for the behind the wheel. And the good thing about Prime, what other companies don't do, is they're going to cut you a $250 check if you pass on the first time. So let's talk about the money, because that's what's important. So Prime has a reefer division. So with their reefer division, they are paying their drivers anywhere from 48 to 53 cents per mile. Their flatbed, they pay 50 cents per mile. And their tanker, they pay 55 cents per mile. So let's say you're running teams, which means you're in the truck with another person. So when it comes to refrigerated, they're paying 56 split. So that means that they're going to pay you 56 cents for each mile you drive, and then you're going to split it down the middle, and you get half, your partner gets half. Flatbed, they pay 54 cents split. And tanker, they pay 57 cents split. Now, I've heard for independent contractors, they pay 72% for reefer, and they pay 72 cents for flatbed, and they pay 71% for tanker. Next up is CRST. This is also a major trucking company. So CRST also has schools all over the U.S. And they also provide you with the lodging, transportation, and all of that good stuff once everything checks out and you pass all the requirements for you to come on board to drive. So you'll be learning the same thing at this school. You'll be learning your permit, you're behind the wheel, you're in cab, you're out of cab, all that good stuff at this school. So how long will you be going to school here? About 2 to 4 weeks. That just depends on how fast or slow you are within this course. Now, what does the money look like? So with CRST, typically I hear some of the drivers making as low as $400 a week, all the way up to $900 a week. But the kind of good, crazy, maybe not so good, maybe so good thing is they actually get paid twice a week, which other companies don't do. They pay you every Tuesday and they pay you every Thursday. So you kind of always got money coming in, I guess, if you see it as that way, or either your money is broken up if you look at it that way. So what do they offer? They offer some of the same things of the other companies. They offer flatbed, they offer reefer, they offer dedicated, they have a lease purchase program, so on and so forth. But what makes CRST a little bit different is they are mainly a teaming company. So their company is based around teams. So after you do all of your training and all that good stuff, when it's time to get in that truck and go over the road, you'll be teamed up with someone. So kind of think about that before choosing that school, because most of this school is based around is teaming. Now, a good thing is they do have local accounts, which they just got. They just partnered with Garner not too long ago. So now they have a lot of solo accounts, which they didn't have before. That really wasn't an option. So that is a great thing about CRST. So the next company we're going to talk about, the last one, is CR England, a company that I know all too well. Why? Because I went there. So what can you expect from CR England? Well, it depends. So if you get your permit before you go, you can expect to be in school for about 2 weeks. But if you go through the whole process and you don't have your permit coming in, you can expect to be there from 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how fast you comprehend everything. Now, CR England does do as the other companies do, and they provide transportation to them. They pay for your lodging, so on and so forth, and they have facilities throughout the U.S. So let's get down to the pay. What can you expect from CR England as far as the pay? Hope you got a side hustle. Nah, I'm just playing, but not really. You can expect between 400 and about 800-ish a week. So for some people, that's an upgrade. For some people, it's a downgrade. But what you have to keep in the back of your mind is the future. So the future of trucking is going to be better financially in the long run. So don't too much focus on what you're going to make while you're going to trucking school. Honestly, it doesn't matter what trucking school you go to, you're not going to get paid a lot. Your first year is your hardest year. Well, typically in between 6 months to your first year, you're really not going to make that much money because you are what is called a rookie. And rookies typically don't get paid that much. So trucking is kind of like a ladder. So as you get the time under your belt, the more money you make. And if you decide to venture outside of trucking school, which I'll talk about later, you can see a huge increase on your CDL and your pay. So without further ado, let's go to the next section. So what are my recommendations when it comes to going to a CDL school or picking a CDL school? Well, it kind of depends on many factors. It depends on what's close to you. Do you want to travel? Do you want to go to a school that's in state because you have a job and you want to keep working? Do you have small kids? Do you have felonies? It all depends. All of these schools have different requirements, but I will give you a tip and tell you that when it comes to maybe things that are on your record or things that may be a little bit challenging, CR England is actually your best bet because they kind of take anybody. So I would definitely recommend CR England if you have some things that are going against you or you have some obstacles there. They are, for me personally, from my experience, they are the easiest school to get into. But don't just take my word for it. In the next video that I'm going to link to this video, I'm going to have a couple of guest speakers from each of these schools that I just talked about, and they are going to tell you the pros and cons of their school and why you should go or why you shouldn't, because I don't have experience personally in all these different schools. So you're going to hear it right from the people who went to all of these different schools, because I only have experience with CR England. But that's all that I have for you today as far as how to pick a CDL school. Anyway, I'm Trucker Harley. If you like the content that I'm providing, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment below. And any of you seasoned truck drivers, if I missed anything, please put it down below. Or if any of you people who are aspiring to be a truck driver have any questions or want any other videos that I haven't touched on, put it down in the comments and I will be sure to make content on that. Until then, see you in the next video.